You say you could fight any Trump supporter?
Yeah, he says he kicked, and they're scared of him because he could fix a truck. Like they're threatened by his masculinity. I know how to fix a truck. That's what he said. I'm like, do you? I bet you don't.
The lady doth protest too much.
I bet you don't.
I fear.
I bet if I bring a broken truck to you and a bag of tools, you're
This is the guy that wants to be your vice president, calling the #1 entrepreneur in America that gay guy. You understand how weird that is? You just call him that gay guy?
That gay guy. You've never said that. You've never said that.
Adam, how do you feel about that gay guy? Comment that Tim Walz just...
Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David exposed Tim Walz's dark secret on live TV. The headline alone sounded like clickbait until the cameras rolled, the microphones went hot, and two of the loudest voices in modern media ripped the curtain wide open. Joe Rogan's unfiltered outrage slammed head-on into Patrick Bet-David's bulletproof data, and what began as spicy chatter became a forensic demolition of Minnesota's governor. Rogan threw the first punch, mocking Tim Walz's "I can fix any truck" bravado and daring him to name a single spark plug, while Patrick lined up charts showing runaway crime, academic freefall, and a budget that ballooned faster than a carnival bounce house. Together, they painted a picture of a leader puffed up on slogans, yet hollow on results, asking the viewer a single chilling question: how did a man with so much talking point swagger leave so much wreckage in his wake? Walz's image as the folksy coach-turned-public servant cracked in seconds when he tried scoring cheap points by calling entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy that gay guy on live TV, a slip so tone-deaf it crowned him Tampon Tim once critics remembered his push to stock menstrual products in every school bathroom, boys' rooms included. Rogan roared that government had become a CrossFit workout, random, exhausting, and probably harmful, while Patrick warned that the tampon saga was merely a symptom of deeper chaos. Their timeline jumped to 2020, when Minnesota's lockdown roulette padlocked yoga studios and corner cafes, yet let casinos hum and big box aisles buzz. Business owners begged for consistency. They received nightly sermons on community caution that contradicted yesterday's memo. Rumors spread that each new mandate was weighted more by polling than by science, and unemployment lines soon stretched longer than a Duluth January night. Outside those shuttered storefronts, Minneapolis streets burned with record-setting violence from 2020 to 2023. Patrol budgets froze, morale flatlined, and entire precincts wondered who still had their backs.
Video?
No.
This is what people love about Donald Trump. The fact that he would say this.
But unfortunately, Governor Walz isn't here himself, but don't worry, he'll say that he was. He's going to say he was. I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have, period, but then I met Tim Walz.
Walz stood at yet another podium, promising holistic safety and community healing. Rogan snarled that the governor could make a hostage negotiation sound like an HR webinar. Zero urgency, zero accountability, but somehow still zero results. Families bolted extra deadbolts. Downtown merchants replaced shattered glass for the third time in a month, and Patrick pointed out that Walz's only measurable response was to announce another committee. Proof, he said, that the governor doesn't lead, he lingers. Schools didn't escape the wreckage. A system once ranked among America's best saw reading scores nosedive by 2024, while screens replaced textbooks and equity workshops displaced field trips. Each spring, Walz launched another acronym, STRIVE, promising transformation. Each autumn, scores slid further, teachers quit in droves, and parents live-streamed school board meetings just to beg for old-fashioned arithmetic. One mother told Patrick, "Our kids are beta testers, and they're the crash dummies." Reports circulated that districts funneled cash toward consultants writing anti-bias glossaries, something the governor's office downplays. But optics alone stung. More jargon, less learning, and a stampede of families to neighboring states.
For the common sense questions. They're not ready for the simple questions. And when he just sat there when he had no answer, and then he didn't understand the question, and then he said, "What do you want me to say?" And I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to be president. You will not be running in 2028. You're done.
Well, I don't know whether, it was because of that question or not, if he would ever be president, because the way he handled himself in the debate with J.D. Vance, that was that's probably the worst debate performance I've ever seen, aside from Joe Biden's debate with the president. The first one with
Cultural fog thickened in 2023 when Walz insisted tampons belonged in every public school boy's bathroom. Supporters cheered inclusivity, critics saw ideological whiplash. Rogan snapped, tampons in the men's locker while the gym itself is closed. That's government insanity at its finest. Meanwhile, posts that questioned mandates were flagged misinformation, and Walz warned, there's no First Amendment for hate speech. Civil liberties groups bristled. Independent outlets claimed his office nudged social platform moderators to throttle dangerous voices. Allegations Walz denies. Speculation erupted that he wanted Minnesota's flag redesigned to mirror Somali symbolism, and that his rumored running mate backed gender surgery for tweens. Nothing verified, yet the mere buzz set comment sections ablaze, fueling distrust. But culture wars drain energy while budget bloat drains futures. Under Walz, the state ledger swelled past $70 billion, even as DMV lines snaked around the block, potholes sprouted like dandelions, and business permits crawled through 6-month backlogs. Taxes ticked upward, services slowed, and would-be entrepreneurs discovered Minnesota now demanded a lawyer, a lobbyist, and divine intervention to sell lemonade. Patrick dubbed Walz the human paper jam, clogging progress and always needing maintenance. Supporters bragged about record rainy day funds. Critics shot back, what's the point of a full umbrella closet if the roof already leaks? Beneath the paperwork lurked resume cracks. Walz implied combat duty. Records show stateside service.
It was yoga night.
We were getting scary close to people justifying totalitarian measures.
I think we need to push back on this.
Tim Walz in the campaign trail was literally saying free speech doesn't include hate speech and misinformation.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Hey man, you. Because everything that we called misinformation just a few years ago, it's on the front page of the New York Times now that we were lied to.
Senator, thank you. Governor, you previously opposed an assault weapons ban, but only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was the NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach gun safety. I'm of an age where my shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice.
Okay, so that was one of the ones that
That's like I think he misspoke, but to say that I'm friends with school shooters, like we hang out on the weekends. I tell them not
friends with a
school shooter.
So that was.
He called himself a head coach. Colleagues recall an assistant's clipboard. He portrayed his family's fertility struggles as IVF. His wife later clarified it was a different treatment. Each slip alone might be forgivable, but together they expose a habit. Narrative first, facts later. Rogan labeled it the illusion of motion. Plenty of noise, no forward traction. Patrick added, Walz doesn't launch programs, he launches brochures. Each crisis spawning another glossy PDF, another press release, another month lost while the headlines fade. Leadership, Rogan argued, isn't a meme, a slogan, or a carefully curated caution. It's decisive action when timelines tighten and lives hinge on clarity. Walz's resume, spiking crime, academic decline, economic drag, and cultural confusion, reveals a state stuck in slow motion while its neighbors sprint. Is a corrupt leader more dangerous, or is it a mediocre one with a gift for delay? Whether Walz is orchestrating a silent power grab or merely piloting on autopilot matters little to the shuttered shops, the families fleeing, and the culture of hesitation infecting a region once famed for bold ideas. Rogan's outrage and Patrick's surgical stats expose a chilling truth. Complacency at the top contaminates everything beneath it. Minnesota is today's cautionary tale. Tomorrow, it could be yours. So drop your take below, because the conversation Tim Walz tries to steer, you have the power to finish. Budget watchdogs have now sounded a new alarm. Minnesota's bond outlook slipped from stable to negative after analysts cited ballooning obligations and razor-thin reserves. The downgrade isn't just a bureaucratic hiccup, it hikes future borrowing costs for every highway, hospital wing, and classroom roof the state hopes to fund. Rogan framed it as karma in spreadsheet form, proof that feel-good pressers can't outrun basic math. Patrick, ever the strategist, warned that a single tick downward on the credit meter can snowball into higher taxes or deeper cuts, forcing citizens to pay twice for the same pothole Walz never fixed the first time.
Rules that read like dares from a frat house.
If you can play this, the audience is deeply concerned about your question. Go ahead, Rob.
What is a woman? What is a woman is the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question here.
Well, that.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to say that a woman like me is an adult human female, that men can't become women.
You guys are the party of violence, and you're the party erasing women. You don't respect us. You're a bigot. You're a misogynist. You're a sexist. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Walz's fiscal warnings aren't staying within state lines either. South Dakota just rolled out a cheeky billboard on I-90 reading, "Breathe free, business loves low taxes," and it's working. A Minneapolis tech startup valued at $50 million packed its servers and headed for Sioux Falls after months of permitting delays and surprise compliance fees. The CEO told local media, "We want to innovate, not navigate." Rogan seized on the quote, calling it the exit interview every politician should dread, while Patrick compared Minnesota's regulatory maze to an escape room designed by Kafka. At street level, frustration has fermented into action. A bipartisan recall petition broke county record signature counts in less than a week, fueled as much by small business owners as by union carpenters who can't land infrastructure contracts. School board races once decided by a few hundred votes now draw overflow crowds, and parents on both sides of the aisle share binders of test score slides on Facebook Live. Patrick calls it distributed accountability, the moment when centralized messaging fractures under the weight of local receipts. Rogan puts it more bluntly, when hockey moms turn into policy pit bulls, the press release era is over. So the reckoning Walz once brushed off as internet noise is now sprinting up the Capitol steps, armed with auditor reports, outbound U-Haul stats, and the raw anger of people who feel overgoverned and underdelivered. Whether the governor pivots or doubles down, one truth hangs in the air. A state can't thrive on slogans alone. And if Minnesota's story shows anything, it's that citizens eventually replace bumper sticker optimism with a simple, devastating question: show us the results.